Welcome, everybody. My name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Dealership Academy. I hope you're having a fantastic day. This is, wow, 2 weeks on stage away from home. That was really exciting. Super to be back out and back at it. Of course, I do love this online on-demand sessions, and they are absolutely I believe the best way to go. I was thinking of those poor individuals who all they had was my workbook to go on, and and of course the speech, and of course nothing is able to be recorded, so they're not going to be able to review it afterwards. And you have all those wonderful things that at your fingertips that you can review this over and over again. Yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed the recording of the past 2 Thursdays at 10 o'clock. Lots of people viewed it, which is magnificent, more so than what we would have in a normal class. So that means some people reviewed it twice, which is super exciting. And today, what we're going to be talking about is connecting with customers, the phone in, as so inbound as well as outbound calls. And the outbound calls, we're calling it retargeting because specifically that's exactly what it is, where we go after those customers that already reached out to us, and we don't want to lose those opportunities because we spent a lot of money to attract that attention. Now we just got to keep the ball rolling, keep the energy, the enthusiasm alive and heightened and exciting. And that's what helps customers buy vehicles, not necessarily the features and the benefits and everything that goes along with it. So welcome Hamid and Mike, Alex, Peter, and who am I missing? Mark in there. Whole lot more people to join us. There's Wes. Fantastic. Let's get started then. So you guys know me, but we will have some new people in the room. And for the purpose of the recording, I will go through the operation of Zoom. It always amazes me that, and of course, this system that you are all following, the 9 steps, the 1 system, the 3 phases, which helps us all get to 10, 20, and 30 units per month with predictable consistency, is the secret to our success. And obviously, you want to be taking notes on these sessions as well, because this is not all covered in the online on demand. I am in 2.0 version now of the online on demand for the Auto Dealership Academy. So look for revisions coming along quite frequently in December, getting ready for the new year. And again, whether I'm in the boardroom or the Automotive Business School of Canada, Mercedes-Benz, Honda, General Motors, or Ford, or even in my own previous Chrysler dealership as principal, it always intrigued me. It always intrigued me how many guys and gals really follow that winged approach to their sales career. And this time of the year, I get a lot of calls during the coaching sessions on, oh my gosh, Bill, I don't know what to do. Business sucks. I lost 3 or 4 deals due to credit and financing. My pipeline isn't full. What am I going to do? I don't know if I'm going to be able to weather the storm, the economy, the brand, the region, the weather, and all the excuses come out. And at the end of the day, if we were just following the system, be it my system or anybody else's, you may have even created your own system, but I know my system is proven and it's perfectly orchestrated to fill your pipeline full of customers. And even when we talk about the pipeline, we talk about the absorption rate. We can attribute a lot of those key performance indicators that the fixed operation leverages to determine how well the dealership is doing right out to the variable operation. For instance, if we look at our repeats, referrals, networking, and service upgrades as our absorption, that's our pipeline that creates a consistent, predictable income. That's what the whole system is all about. Predictable, consistent income, getting you to 10, 20, and 30 per month all the time, predictably, consistently, by having that constant flow of traffic that you control, as opposed to the traffic that you don't control, which is showroom, phone in, and virtual leads. So we're going to be talking about the phone ins because that's the lion's share of how much of our traffic that we're getting right now. And that becomes seasonal. This time of the year, it's easy for customers to shop that way. I'm going to teach you some perfect strategy to help get those customers to buy from you when the first contact that they may have with you is over the phone. But first, allow me an opportunity to familiarize everyone with the platform and set the room. For those of you that are new to the manifesto, if you're new to Zoom, in fact, or even for that matter, if you're an expert, please bear with me. If you're new to Zoom, it's really quite easy. If you see my lips moving, yes, there is sound. Click join with computer audio, assuming that you're reading the subtitles along the bottom of your screen. If you cannot hear me and you're reading, well, the subtitles are not turned on. And I'm wondering if I don't think I can access those from here, and I won't slow things down because I've got to exit the whole program to do so. I'm sorry. I'm assuming, looking at my second screen, that my subtitles are running, and now looking at the primary screen, they're not. So if you cannot hear me, join with computer audio. You may have to minimize this window in order for you to be able to find the next window that says join with computer audio. And of course, just click yes in order to be able to access that. Now, to be less disruptive to those around you, assuming that you can hear me, think about connecting with earbuds or headphones. It's definitely suggests that you are not available while staring at your computer screen. And of course, if the app did not go to full screen, you can do so by clicking that upper right-hand corner to enlarge it. You may want to put up a sign on your desk that you're in a meeting or on your office door. This is for everybody in the dealership, not necessarily for customers, that you are in a meeting. As always, we need to be ready for those friendly customer interruptions, and that is why all of these sessions are recorded. They'll be available by noon tomorrow for you to be able to review over and over and over again and make those copious notes. So don't be worried if you do get pulled away. Stay with me as long as you possibly can so that you get these tactics right now. You can implement them this afternoon to hit those 10s, 20s, and 30s per month. Now, if you position your pointer at the bottom of the screen, the toolbar will pop up. You may have your toolbar at the top of the screen, so position at the top and the toolbar will drop down. You can position the toolbar even on the sides of the screen. Just grab it and move it around where you like it. If you position your pointer at the toolbar, another button will appear, a series of buttons, in fact, will appear, that is called the chat button. This window will allow you to send me a message. This is where I'm saying good morning and talking with everybody. Oh, no problem, Wes. I can see that update is happening. Good for you. And saying hi to Hamid and Mike Sturley. And of course, if I ask you a question, this is obviously where I would like you to contribute because all microphones are muted as soon as you walk into the room or enter the Zoom room. At the end of the session for the Q&A, we'll open the microphone up so that everybody gets an opportunity to ask their question. It doesn't even have to be related to this exercise that we're doing today and this workshop. It could be something off topic, and I will stay live on that Q&A portion after for everybody's question to be answered. And of course, that will be recorded and you can review those questions too. Now, if you see a question in the text chat and you know the answer, feel free to go ahead and contribute. And of course, as always, we need to be mindful of polite, courteous, and respectful to everybody in the room. If I ask you to give me a thumbs up or a smiley face, these reactions can be found in the toolbar. Position your pointer at the bottom of the screen or at the top of the screen, wherever you've got it located. And of course, the toolbar will pop up. You can click on reactions. You can do that now. Everybody give me a thumbs up or a smiley face. Hi, Dan. Hi, Henry. Who else do we have in the Zoom room? I got to get over to my second screen there. I just got to drag that down. Fantastic, Dan. Thank you. Mark and Wes, great job. That is dynamite. When I can get this, I got to drag it down. How do I lengthen that out? There we go. Now I can see that everybody is there. Fantastic. And of course, back to the primary screen. Here we are. Wonderful. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Peter. I think the only other thing that I need to do is focus mode. That'll make things a little bit easier for us. There we go. Now, moving right along, write these links down, especially the bottom of the slide, because you're not alone. If you're stuck and not hitting your objective, let alone on track to earn your goals for this month, the next month, this year, book a one-on-one session with me. You're not alone in this magnificent virtual world. Two heads are better than one, and we can work through what may be holding you back. So write that link down at the bottom of the slide. It is not obviously a hyperlink because you cannot access it. It will be a hyperlink. I will put the hyperlink in the comments of our YouTube posting when that video is up there. And of course, you can access these links on files of the private members Facebook group of the Auto Dealership Academy. You can also access these links through the on-demand learning platform. And of course, you can get it through Google Drive of the Auto Dealership Academy. This is where you can post questions, especially at the Auto Dealership Academy private members Facebook group. You can post questions. You can post whatever is challenging you. You can share with us your predicament that shoppers are presenting to you this time of the year. You can ask the community for help in that capacity. And of course, for that matter, for those of you that have joined the Auto Sales Academy private members group, that's our free Facebook group open to the general public that is only automobile salespeople. You can post your questions and get answers there too. You're not alone in this magnificent virtual world. Now, it is vast. Don't waste your time with groups that can't help you. Ours is specifically dedicated to automotive retail. You must be an automobile salesperson. You must be a manager or a dealer owning an automobile dealership and working in it to join either the Auto Sales Academy public private members Facebook group or the Auto Dealership Academy. You must be a member of the Manifesto paying client, in other words, in order to get in that group. So that group's a lot smaller and a more intimate group. And of course, the Auto Sales Academy, we're celebrating over 300 members now. Just started that group in July of this year. So really excited about people coming along and joining. And of course, when you join those groups and you get an answer to your question, pay it forward. Pay it forward by helping somebody else with their challenge, helping somebody else with their question. And you can even ask questions and then postulate your reaction and your suggestions to it. Now, these are the 7 habits of highly successful automobile salespeople, and you can find these habits both in the Google Drive of the Auto Dealership Academy, as well as files of the Auto Dealership Academy private members Facebook group, and of course, in the step of the manifesto, the very first module. I would encourage you to download and to put this where you will see it frequently, because it'll help you really focus on the things that you should be doing on a daily basis, for that matter. And of course, today we're talking about the 5th habit, maintaining communication, of these 7 habits of highly successful salespeople. Now, it all starts with your daily game plan and identifying those opportunities for yourself. This is page 4 of the blueprint, step number 8 in the manifesto. This is the 90-day statistical average, and it'll really help you identify those opportunities that you can leverage to immediately sell 10, 20, and into 30 units per month with predictable consistency. You see, what I found for the past 30 years facilitating this is that this is the one thing that holds us back and keeps us in a struggle, not just mentality, but in a struggle physicality, is our goals. Goals are the reason that average ordinary salespeople struggle and hate the industry and quit, because the goal, without a plan to accomplish that, without a delineated plan, is really quite innate and useless, and it becomes demoralizing and demeaning. And that's where we start thinking there's got to be something else out there. So if you want to schedule a one-on-one training session with me, please do. I won't beat you up on your goals, but I'll help you arrive at the plan that will help you achieve that goal, so that you have certainty that you can sell 10, 20, and into 30 per month, regardless of region, regardless of brand, regardless of the economy. So this is the page number 6, and it forms the plan to leverage those opportunities to get into 10, 20, and 30 vehicles per month, regardless of inventory, region, brand, or economy. Today, I'm going to focus on the leads from phone in, that second opportunity, and how we can retarget those and get those people back in, because the closing ratio goes vertical when you get those B-backs back in, right? Your closing ratio is hovering in and around the 20% right now on walk-ins, quickly getting back to normal, like we're talking pre-2019 levels, but the B-backs are even higher than what they were pre-2019, which is fantastic. So we want to retarget those people and get them back in, because that's just working smarter, not harder. Now, Phone Skills addresses the activities of 1, 2, 3, and 5, and kind of activity number 6. These are the activities that lead to the sale, not the steps to the sale. And I know they've been referred to as that, and I've been guilty of saying that in the past. And looking at 2.0 and rewriting all the content and material, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are the activities. These are the activities that take people from where they are now, the buyers, I mean, to where they want to be. From where they are now, their old, worn-out automobile, to newer, shiny, faster, latest and greatest technology, protected by a full warranty, when they know how affordable it is. These activities are commonplace on the phone. Now, obviously, demonstration, purchase consultation, a little bit more challenging on the phone. It's activity 4 and 6, and delivery is impossible, must happen in the showroom, or at least if you deliver it to their driveway. But follow-up happens all the time. Follow up, follow on, and we call it retargeting. When they do arrive in the showroom, you're going to facilitate the activities once again and specifically focus on 4, and then obviously transition to 6, 7, and 8 is, as mentioned, always act. These are the activities that you must do to build that value bridge. And especially important right now, as we see less traffic, the showroom doors aren't swinging as much, and the phone is ringing better than the showroom doors are swinging, and the email chime bell is going off even better, because even though we're distracted by American Thanksgiving, Black Friday, the next thing's going to be the holiday season and Christmas parties and Christmas shopping, and then it's going to be credit card bills and payment, and then it's going to be Valentine's, and then it's going to be family day, and then it's going to be school break, and the list goes on and on. Customers still need and want to buy automobiles. And certainly, if we start to get that slippery, snowy weather, as we've said always, that is a wonderful day for those of us in the car business. So we know shoppers use the internet for everything, and especially buying automobiles. While this statistic may be true, I believe it is wrong. And I'm sure you would agree with me in that sense. I want to share with you a story to really illustrate how I think this statistic is wrong. For instance, my father-in-law, Hugo, wonderful guy, a cabinet maker and immigrant from Austria over 60 years ago now, worked with hand tools his whole life, worked with wood and hand tools and managing a lot of people. So he never really had much use for a computer other than the cell phone that he carries around and the automobile that he used to drive. So when he was considering buying a new automobile, well, years ago, he asked his granddaughter, my daughter, to show him that vehicle online on the computer screen, on the computer in our living room, what it looks like, how much it costs, what the colors were, what the interior was like, and the features that he could get along with it. This is why I believe that statistic is way wrong. I would suggest and go so far as to say 100% of people do this. The question is what customers actually ask themselves. This is the reality that reflects the actual practice of how they become a buyer, because every single one of these shoppers transcends a journey. This second greatest financial decision we make next to buying a house is not made in jest or made easily. They need and want answers to their questions, and that may be the reason why they're calling you. So let's have a look at how they transcend the journey, explaining why they're using the phone rather than just not walking into the showroom. The first step, as I've shared with you in the past, is that they think about buying. And that thinking stage can take a long, long time. For instance, if you think about the car that you would love to own, your dream automobile, how long have you been thinking about that for? It could be years. It could be decades. On the other side of the equation, think about this. The automobile that you're currently driving, you could be driving home, and slippery weather driving could leave you in a perilous situation where the car is damaged. Let me take it a step further. Let's say it's destroyed. That would be terrible. Hopefully nobody's hurt in the process. Of course, we have all the driving dynamics to protect you from that. And of course, the accident protection measures of airbags and crumple zones and safety cell construction to protect you and loved ones. But in the event that, heaven forbid, something should happen like that, you can rest assured that hopefully your insurance will come to the party, and we have inventory on the ground, and you can be driving a nice newer automobile. So the thinking stage can take seconds and hours, and yet it can be accomplished. It can take years and decades. So then the second step that the buyer goes through on their journey is to talk about this purchase that they're thinking of making with, and this happens subconsciously, way back here in the back of their mind, with someone who will support their decision. Again, The second greatest financial decision that we make next to buying a house is not made easily or made in jest. And for some people, this may be the most important financial decision in their life, that they have not purchased a house yet. And based on the price of housing, especially in my marketplace, maybe they will never buy a house. The point is, nobody just wakes up in the morning or driving along in the roadway and wheels into an automobile dealership like they may go to Best Buy to purchase a cell phone or computer equipment or a set of headphones or a big screen TV for Super Bowl and all the bowl playoffs that are happening right now. Nobody just wheels into our dealership like they go to Walmart to get groceries or sundry items or clothing or Christmas gifts. Nobody just wheels into our dealership like they go to Canadian Tire. I hope you really get that message. They think about it and then talk it over with someone who will support their decision. Now, once they have the support from somebody that, yes, the product that you sell is a good idea, now they go through the research stage, right? In the research stage, there is a subgroup of 5 things that happen here. We know top of mind for everybody at research going online is, how much is it? Isn't that interesting? How they come into the showroom and the first thing out of their mouth is, how much is it? And yet we know like 100% of them, or 99.99999, have gone online. And the first thing, in fact, our manufacturers know it so well, it's on the landing page of their website, how much automobiles are. So price is top of mind, but very closely behind price is product. So we do know that a lot of customers are searching online for availability. That has been the case for the past 2.5 years. And of course, we're not at the same volume level of inventory sitting on the ground that we were, so let's say 3 years or 3.5 years ago. So they're wanting to know where they can find the particular product that they would like to own. And that comes down to color, features, equipment, trim level, all of which, when they arrive at the showroom, or in this particular case, they're calling us on the phone to verify what they have found online that that vehicle does exist. Now, once they have completed those 2 sub-steps of the research phase, the next stage is where they're going to get the automobile. Now, in a metro market, this is more prevalent than a rural market. In a rural market, I'm pretty much could count on the fact that they know where your dealership is. But in a metro market, they may be looking for it. And here's the other part of the equation. In their research phase, they may have been alerted to the dealers that have a great deal or have inventory, and Google does an excellent job, and Bing and Excite and Yahoo, for that matter, do an excellent job of trying to get the user the information they would really like to have. And therefore, locations that aren't even close to them that have product may come up. And this is important to the client, all of which is happening online before they ever come in to see us. The 4th subset that is happening in this research stage is our reputation. This is where customers can, well, I don't think they actively go looking for our Google reviews, but because they are searching for that automobile, maybe Google reviews will top that list, because obviously Google owns the Google reviews. And if they're leveraging Google as their search engine, then Google reviews, YouTube videos, all of which Google owns, are going to be pushed up to the top to help this client find the perfect salesperson, the perfect product in the perfect location at a great price for them. Remember, Google structures all of their whole entire platform for the user experience, not to help us advertise, not to help us sell automobiles. We're just a byproduct of that, where the customer is looking for this particular product. Now, the last step is the most exciting step in the entire bunch, in my opinion, and that is where they decide, okay, I'm ready. Now I know the price, I know the product, I know where I'm going to go. I know that the dealership, the brand, and you have a good reputation, because in this particular case, no news is good news. They haven't actually found a bad review. Therefore, no news is good news, and they're ready to move forward. They may not know your name. They may not necessarily know that you work at that dealership. They may not be necessarily creeping you on social, all of which I think is a good idea, and some might, but they're ready to talk to a salesperson. So let's go back to the journey that they take. This is the transformation that they go from shopper to buyer. And that is to touch and feel the automobile in a non-confrontational situation. This is how they're arriving at the point that they're ready to call you. So they've seen the car in a parking lot. They've seen the automobile at the auto show. They've seen the automobile at your dealership when you are closed. And now they're ready to visit you. This is the showroom. This is to call you, to send an electronic lead in, an email. At this point, I really want to drive home the fact that the customer has transcended the journey. By the time they reach out to you, they know that this is a good idea. They know that you have product. They know where you're located. They know the price. And now they're reaching out to you. And they're reaching out to you for a number of reasons. Let's go through those. The primary reason is to get answers to their questions. But you see, here's the thing with telephone training. So much of the phone training that has gone on in the past have taught skills that accidentally, in my opinion, teach cognitive dissonance, a really fancy word for pushing customers away, creating barriers, whatever physical metaphor that you want to come up with that leads the customer to the point where they say, let me think about it. Let me talk it over with my spouse. Let me talk it over with my dad. I had no intention of buying today. This is the first place I've been to, so I can't buy right now. When the shoppers completed the research and they're ready to make that decision to buy, they actually could be more excited and more ready than what you think they are. This is how I'm so confident taking you through that transformation that they've gone through: thinking, talking, research, touch and feel in non-confrontational situation. And now they're here to talk to you. This is how I can be so confident when I say that every shopper is a buyer. Because this is the second greatest financial decision they make in their life. That only happens every 4, 5, 6, up to 16 years. Average age of a car in Canada and the US, 16 years of age. For some people, 32 years worth of driving automobiles is 2 cars. That's hard to believe. Really let that sink in. That's why they never get good at it. This is why they're always worried about making a mistake. This is how they can go through desire, fear, and pain in a nanosecond, because they want it and they're fearful of making a decision and the pain of the commitment for the next 16 years if they made the wrong decision. So when you think of why they are calling in and not just coming in to look at the vehicle because it's how they want to buy, it's really the why is how they want to buy. They want to leverage the phone, if anything, for avoidance, but probably as a filter to determine that the time that they're going to invest in this is well spent. Now, I know we think they're just shopping around, and they could be, but that's 0.00001%. They're not just shopping around. They've transcended the journey. This is why I say every shopper is a buyer, because they've gone over their own value bridge. Now it's our job to take them all the way across and show them how affordable it can be. They're more ready to buy at this very moment than at any other point in time when they call us, email us, or even walk into the showroom. But let's just talk about the phone. We're just focused on the phone today. On the phone, we get shoppers in because they know, based on the answers to their questions, that they can like us and that they can trust what we have to say. And that's what earns you the right to sell them. The more you practice these skills, and most predominantly the skill of active listening, the more your attractive character will hook them to know that you are the automotive authority. They just like how you present themselves because you listen so much. And of course, this is what you earn in terms of trust for them to do business with you. But here's the wrinkle. Many existing phone skill methods are training us, or have trained us, to say things that don't work with today's customer. I don't believe that they worked with yesterday's customer, but really don't work with today's customer. And what's the result? Fewer callers buying automobiles. That's why they're calling around. They're looking for that sales consultant, that automobile salesperson, power sports salesperson that they can trust. Why? Because what we were trained to say, which I believe is really quite innocent of you to do, intending to draw shoppers into the showroom, actually accomplishes the opposite. It drives them away. This is because the tactic and those talk tracks are actually engineered backwards. Not intentionally, but it was just very mechanical and very methodical, like say this to get people in. And maybe it wasn't even mechanical and methodical. Maybe it was that individual who used to do it well and had some success, and now is teaching it and said, this is what I did. Well, that may work with one buyer behavior, but it may not work with all. So we need to learn to lead the process and help this customer. The process is help them make the decision to buy, where they see themselves getting what they want, so you see yourself getting what you want. The point that I want to make is that we do not want to attempt to control the caller. If the caller wants, if you want the caller to come into the showroom, then asking them to come into the showroom when they're not in the showroom is not what the caller wants. Do you get it? That's the cognitive dissonance. When we say, when can you come in? Well, you got to come in to see it. You got to come in for me to appraise your car. You got to come in to get my best deal. That doesn't help them make the decision that they want to make. They're calling to ask questions. And when you practice active listening, they get the answer to those questions. Let's go back to why they're not here in person. And that could be the primary motivators of desire, fear, and pain. I believe they are not in your showroom as a result of avoidance, however. They're actually avoiding us. They're avoiding you because of desire, fear, and pain. Those motivators that help them purchase the car of desire, fear, and pain. The great automobile salesperson is that individual that is excellent at closing buyers on those motivators when the color is not right, the features they don't really need and want, and the payments are unaffordable. This is what customers tell us. The really great salespeople are those that can close buyers leveraging those motivators of wrong color, wrong features, and payments that they cannot afford, because that's what customers tell us. The vehicle was not exactly the one that I wanted. That's what they're trying to avoid. They're trying to avoid us. Isn't that what they actually tell us too? So what do callers really want then? It turns out that by giving answers can pay huge dividends when they're avoiding us and scared to talk to us, scared to see us, because we can talk them into colors they don't like, features they don't want, and payments they can't afford. The study of body language, and you know this from the first step of the manifesto, the first module, the dynamic buyer journey, reveals the truth of what customers want. Shoppers only care to the extent of 7% based on what we say, but how we say what we're saying, if that makes any sense, they value 38%. And maybe it's not so much what we say as how much we listen, and then repeat back via active listening what they want. Can you see how crucial this is on the phone? Your phone conversations are considerably shorter than an in-person visit. When you listen for intent of what the customer is really looking for, and then paraphrase by summarizing in brief what they're looking for, doesn't that hit a home run? Physical body language is impossible at this point, right? Which is the majority of how we communicate. But it's impossible unless you're doing a video call, right? And that's, I would encourage you to leverage the virtual showroom with a virtual presentation where you can get excited, where they see your excitement and enthusiasm for the product. And that's magnificent. You can facilitate that with a PowerPoint presentation. But here on the phone, all you have to work with is your voice. So you want to mirror match the energy level and, of course, create that excitement. Let's go back to the answer. The answer is determined by what the caller is really asking. As a result, we often try to clarify their questions to arrive at an answer we think would be most helpful to them. The clarifying step, like your goals, are actually what holds us in a struggling perspective. Because clarifying means that the caller gets a question or gets an answer to a question that is just really another question. Clarifying means you need to ask a question to get an answer. Suppose the customer asks what kind of engine a vehicle has. One answer could be the internal combustion engine. But that isn't really what the customer had in mind now, is it? The ICE engine, right? Most customers usually want to know how many cylinders the engine is, or what the displacement is, and even horsepower and torque values for those true enthusiasts. Not really what type of engine, be an ICE engine, diesel engine, or electrification. So when we say it has a V6, and button up with that, be brief. What engine does it have? It has the inline 3, inline 4, V6, inline 6-cylinder, V8, V10, V12, V16, if we had any of those. If that is not enough information, and quiet time where you say it's a 4-cylinder, 3-cylinder, 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder, if that's not enough information for the customer, then they'll say, oh, is that the 3-liter, 4.3 liter, 4.8 liter, 5 liter, 5.3 liter, 5.7 liter, 6 liter, 8 liter? I hope you get the message. If the caller wants more information, they'll ask for it. When we attempt to clarify, we ask another question. So for instance, let's clarify a price question. This is particularly risky, right? And probably top of mind for all of you. Most salespeople, average ordinary salespeople, get evasive at this point because, well, there's a lot of options and features that go into determining what the price of that automobile would be. But really, at the end of the day, why are you being so evasive? Well, it's obviously to hold gross, right? Gross profit. Instead of answering the question with simply base price, they all start at, or a range. They start at and they go all the way to, or just share with them what all of the product that you have on the ground. It could be 1, 2, 5, 7, 12, 10. It could be what the majority of your automobiles are ordered like. Instead of simply answering with the price of what the vehicles that you have on the ground and available to you are, then we say something like, which vehicle are you asking about that price on? Which is a question as an answer that they didn't want to answer, because if they did, they would have told you the exact vehicle that they were looking for. Customers don't buy because you did not and cannot answer the question. They don't buy because we seem evasive. And so the answer that you give is less important than the fact that you actually gave one. I hope you really get that. The bottom line is, you don't want to volunteer information. If you do volunteer too much information, or any information that hasn't been requested, forget about too much. But if you volunteer information that hasn't been requested, this comes across and is perceived as a sales pitch, getting answers to questions that the customer didn't ask. That is your commission breath. And this is what pushes them away: cognitive dissonance. For instance, if your shopper asks, hey, do you have any red vehicles on the lot? Your answer should be, and when I say vehicles, by the way, it's in braces. So, I'm using vehicles as all of your power sport product, all of your automobiles, trucks, vans, SUVs, side-by-side snowmobiles, ATVs, UTVs. You would pick the vehicle and you would plug that in. When I say vehicles on the lot, your answer should be, yes, that's it. Yes, I have that product. Your answer should not be, yes, I have that, and they're all very nicely equipped. When would you like to come in and drive one? You see, when we offer nicely equipped and when would you like to come in and drive it, they're getting a pitch. And however well-intentioned that pitch is, it'll probably cause defenses to rise. This is why they ghost you. This is why they don't return your voicemails. This is why they don't pick up the phone. This is why you're constantly leaving voicemail messages with them. To give that some thought and consideration. Be brief and just answer the question that they've asked, and then go silent, button up, which is the Lear principle, right? And if you have been through module 1 of the manifesto, you'll be very familiar with the Lear principle, and you probably see that baby's face before, because I want that to be etched in your mind. This will form your general communication strategy. And I'm going to share with you the tactics that are perfectly aligned to form this strategy. So now is really the time to listen and learn. The activity is called active listening, which we've covered extensively. Active listening is where you hear, comprehend, then repeat in brief what the shopper has just said to you. My Lear principle spells it out really well for you. The first stage is listening. For some of you, this will be really difficult and even possibly painful, because you need to shut up and listen for as long as it takes for that shopper to tell you how they want to buy. Look, the Almighty gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. You need to start doing twice as much listening as talking, especially on the phone. That's crucial, right? All that you have to go with is your voice on the phone. If you need to buy a baby soother and stick it in your mouth and suck on it, then do so. Just don't talk. The second stage is the acknowledgement. This is while you're listening, you'll be enticed to blurt something out. This is where ordinary average salespeople create cognitive dissonance. This is how they push customers away because they create the barriers for themselves. And this is why shoppers use lame excuses to blow you off. They say things like, they say things like, salespeople, pardon me, I'm getting stuck there for a second. Salespeople say things that the customer do not want to hear, such as no, such as not available, such as sold out, such as you'll have to come into the showroom, such as we don't do it sight unseen anymore. All the things that a customer is filtering through, calling around, looking for the salesperson they can know, like, and trust, that is saying all the things that they want to hear. At this point on your call, don't say anything more than okay, yeah. They may want your latest and greatest, super amazing, terrific, unavailable vehicle for the next 5 years. They don't want to hear right now, no, not available, sold out, or you have to come to the showroom, or you have to put a deposit down, or you have to fill in an order, or we're only taking orders. You don't want to say any of that at this point. Small, nonsensible words, just expressions, no thoughts, no solution. Then at stage 3, with the soother still in your mouth as you listen and acknowledge nonsensible communication, keep sucking on the soother, just keep making notes. Keep talking to the customer. While you're listening, explore solutions. Don't say anything, just explore in your mind what the shopper wants to hear you say. Then, only when the shopper stops talking, you can respond. Now, are you thinking that I'm being a little dramatic and emphasizing activity that's so easy to do? Well, think of it this way. A really good friend of mine once told me, Billy, always start your brain before putting your gear in and putting your mouth in gear. As an author, speaker, and professor, it is sometimes difficult, super incredibly difficult for me to do that. I feel like anytime that you're talking to me, you want me to be teaching you something. Practicing Lear, however, for me, demonstrates that you asking me a question may just simply want to be heard. That when I just listen with nonsensible reply, you sometimes come to the conclusion all on your own. You know what I'm talking about? I really hope that resonates with you. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a smiley face. That makes sense. You arrive at the conclusion on your own because of this nonsensible communication. It just works for us, right? It just makes sense all the way along. Thank you. Good job, Wes. Excellent, Mark. Appreciate that. Practicing Lear demonstrates that that the customer wants to be heard. We become master listeners by doing so. And this is how we help the shopper make the decision that they want to make. That's the secret to selling anything to anybody at any time. Now, here is your phone call answering strategy. That's a communication strategy. It'll work both in person and on the phone. But however, these tactics are easy to follow up with, and I've got some talk tracks for you coming up as well. And this demonstrates a respect for the caller's time too. Here are the tactics. Stand up. The reason why you stand up is you breathe from your diaphragm. You sound a whole lot better. Blood flows to your brain. You think quicker. When blood's flowing to your brain, you're alert and you're awake. You want to buy a small camping mirror. That's the purpose of that picture on the slide, where you can look at yourself before answering the call. This will put you in a cheerful, but don't be overly dramatic about being too cheerful. Don't be, well, it's an amazing day. It's super fantastic to buy an automobile. So glad that you called. That's going to sound like a pitch, and you're going to create cognitive dissonance. Just be cheerful and pleasant, because you may be coming from a bad situation. Your vehicle may not be ready for delivery. You may be rushing into the dealership. The weather could be terrible. You maybe miss a sales meeting, and you know you're going to get in trouble for that because you were late, and the weather and the traffic and whatever the case is, and the phone rings. This is Murphy's Law, and that's the reason for the mirror. Put yourself in that correct state of mind. Minimize distractions so that you only focus on the caller's conversation. Then listen intently. Understand what the shopper is interested and motivated to make this decision. Then at the opportune moment, rephrase. In summary, being brief, not adding any more information that is required. You can do so quickly and easily because you are making notes the whole time. after answering the caller's questions, you need to give them a reason to come in. Now, this is where most average ordinary salespeople get stumped. They don't make the appointment, they don't ask for the appointment, or they do ask for the appointment prematurely, or they come right out and say, would you like to make an appointment? To which the conditional response is no, and that's cognitive dissonance, and that creates a barrier, and then the customer doesn't come in. However, if you were to create the appointment activity as a custom is a powerful motivator. The mark of a custom is that everybody does it. Nobody is aware that they are doing it. And they don't know why, for that matter, they are doing it. So a perfect example of a custom is a hostess will seat you sign at a restaurant. And this made so much sense to me this week because every day I went down to the hotel lobby to their restaurant to have breakfast. And at 6:30 in the morning, the restaurant was very busy. And the hostess, with the hostess will seat you sign right there in front of me, would take minutes when I didn't have minutes to spend. Minutes to get to me. And it drove me crazy. And I stood there because the customary thing to do is to stand and wait as the sign has indicated. The hostess will seat you sign. Although I, like your customers, could find seats of their own quicker, we wait. If something is customary like that, nobody asks if you will do it. They only ask how and when you will do it. In fact, asking someone if they need to do it is actually offensive. It implies that the person asking does not know how things are done around here. That's the mark of a custom. So here are two proven tactics to make a custom, make them coming in to see you and booking an appointment customary, such as, doesn't matter at what point you are in the telephone conversation, you finally just blurt out when they stop talking, when would you like to drive it? If it sounds customary to drive the vehicle, the customer probably will. When implies that this is the next logical step for them. The word track doesn't give the customer an easy out either, as in, would you like to drive the car? Which would create the conditional response, no. And I'm talking about power sport, ATV, snowmobile, motorcycle, UTV, side by side. By answering the caller's questions, you'll probably qualify as a person from whom they'd like to buy from. So as a result, they're likely to say something like, well, you've been really helpful. We may stop in this weekend and we'll ask for you. This is how you set an appointment. And you would say, fine. Do you know where the showroom is? You see, if you said, oh, do you want to make an appointment? I have mornings and afternoons available. What is the best time for you? It's going to create the conditional response, no. But if they say, hey, look, you've been really helpful. This has been great. Maybe we'll pop by today, tomorrow, this weekend to see you. Fine. Do you know where the showroom is? It's logical. It doesn't imply that you doubt the caller. And because it doesn't make you sound like every other average ordinary salesperson making a formal appointment, like for a heart surgery, then they won't avoid you. And they're like, yeah, I know where the showroom is. Or you can actually drive them to the showroom with directions, not passing by your competition. It's usually not met with any kind of resistance. But again, timing is perfect. And you just don't want to blurt it out as soon as you answer them on the phone. Hey, do you know where the showroom is? That's where it would be met with resistance. You want to make sure it's logical. It's customary in the process. You've practiced active listening. You've got that quiet time where you get to postulate this question. And again, if it's customary, like the hostess will seat you sign, they'll actually do it. Then the next step, and the most important step, is for you to confirm an appointment with the caller. Now, you can utilize a digital calendar. I think it's an excellent idea. And for those of you that have gone through step number 9, leveraging apps and technology, you can certainly do so with Calendly. Send them a link to your calendar where they pick the date and the time, and they will show up because the reminders go out and they pick the date and time, just like you pick the date and time on your coaching calls, right? And they can reschedule. And the reminders go out where they can reschedule and they can cancel. And that comes immediately out of your calendar and immediately goes into your calendar when they do set the time or they change the time. But you can do this analog. You can confirm a date and time with them, get their name and number so that you can follow up with them and suggest that you can send them reminders. Everybody loves a reminder because we're busy, especially this time of the year with Christmas. You want to ask them if they have a pen and paper handy. Those tactics haven't gone away, even though the customer is different. The fundamentals haven't changed. You have a pen and paper handy, write this down, spell your name out, and give them your telephone number. And then at the end of the call, end it on an upbeat and a professional note. That's what contributes to a positive first impression. This is your first impression. This is the one that gets them in the showroom, where you're going to have to make a positive first impression when they arrive in the showroom too. But this is the most critical one. So it's a fact of life. No matter how good we get at doing all of these things, answering calls in the showroom, facilitating demonstration drives and walkarounds, and introducing the customer to the manager as well, a good percentage of our customers will remain unsold and walk out those showroom doors. They will just get away on us, regardless of how well we did on the phone getting them in or how well we did with them in the showroom. And statistics still share with us that 80% will walk away, but we cannot forget about them. I think that statistic is high. I don't think that is necessarily the case. As we recover from the inventory shortage, we're getting more customers seeing product on the ground. And of course, we've got some cash on the hood and those traditional incentives. So they're becoming a traditional buyer and they're getting excited about purchasing again, which is fantastic. But for you to sell 10, 20 into 30 units per month, regardless of inventory, region, or brand, you need to get these unsold people back, because you can close in excess of 73% of them when they come back to you, either on the phone and ideally walking into the showroom. So I would suggest that you create, and if you're struggling with this, book a one-on-one session with me and I'll walk you through it in an aggressive appointment follow-up system to go after those unsold customers. And this is what I call the retargeting. So this is where you leverage an email sequence of 6 to 10 pieces created by ChatGPT, where we plug it into an email service provider such as MailChimp and completely automate that system, complemented with an SMS campaign texting them, which will be supported by a spearing plan on social media. Yeah, there's a lot there, but that is leveraging apps and technology is step number 9 that you want to do with this phone retargeting message going after those unsold traffic customers. The point is, in order for you to be top of mind, you must be seen everywhere. And that's what will sell you 10, 20, and into 30 units per month with predictable consistency. Doesn't matter what time of the year, doesn't matter about seasonality. When you get this pipeline full of hungry, anxious shoppers, pardon me, you will sell easily into 10s, 20s, and into 30s. And of course, the leveraging apps and technology will walk you through that whole process. So I would encourage you to look at that again if it's been a while since you saw it. Now, I want to share this much with you just before we end this and move forward to the Q&A. The rule of 72. So the rule of 72 works like this. And have you heard this before? That a customer purchases within 72 hours. And I'm making this loop gesture that at the very beginning, when they walked into your dealership, they are excited. They're bouncing off the walls. They're full of desire and anxiousness for new, shiny, faster, latest and greatest technology, better fuel economy, and of course, protected by a full factory warranty, including roadside assistance. They just don't know how affordable it is, the best way that they should buy it. So if we don't hit on all those hot points, perfectly aligned, leveraging every tactic that we know to close this deal, and the customer squirts out on us and is thinking about it, then if we don't make contact with them within 48 hours, they are very quickly falling out of the interested stage, falling out of excited, pardon me, into an interested state of mind, which is, you know what, it's a good idea. I don't know if this is the best time of the year to buy. Should I put my vehicle through winter driving conditions with all that salt and brine on the roadway? Should I just wait till the spring? But I know I'm on borrowed time. This is what we were thinking last year. Should we buy now? Should we not? Who knows? And this is where they go from interested. If we don't make contact with them and create all the excitement and desire once again, then they fall to, in 3 days, bored and a little bit neutral on the prospect of purchasing this automobile. Now, bored state of mind is really quite a bad thing. A bored state of mind creates an enormous amount of uncertainty. And a bored state of mind is also where our highest level of doubt exists. Doubt in ourself, doubt in our ability to pay, doubt in our ability to get financed, doubt in the decision-making process that this is the right time to be able to purchase an automobile. Maybe we should wait for a better deal, a year-end clear out. Maybe the manufacturer is going to put additional incentives on. And again, if we don't make contact within that 72-hour loop, then the customer doesn't go away, but their excitement and their interest and their bored state of mind starts to rebound on the fourth day as overt hostility. And now they're mad that they haven't made this decision. They're mad at themselves. They're mad at the time that they put into this. They're mad at the fact that we may not have contacted them. They're mad that they can't get the product that they want. They're mad at the whole entire industry. They're mad at the world. They're mad at life. They even get mad at their loved ones around them, pardon me, that say, how's the shopping going on the vehicle? And if we don't make contact with them within those 48 hours, and quite frankly, at this point, they'll be mad at you. They're not picking up the phone. They're ghosting on an SMS. They're not responding to your emails because they're thinking to themselves, maybe there is going to be a better deal down the road. Maybe I can drive my vehicle a little bit longer, save up a little bit more money. And they're mad at the fact that they still have to drive their old automobile. And they're mad at the fact that they can't afford or they can't just make the decision anyhow. And if we don't make contact with them in those 48 hours, then on the fifth day, they go into covert hostility. And covert hostility is that all salespeople are bad. All salespeople are useless. I hate that brand. Nobody in my town has the product that I want. Nobody in the brand that I would like to be owning and driving has the product. Why can't they produce more automobiles? I don't understand why the supply chain is fragmented. I don't get why I have to pay this much money. I hate the fact that interest rates are higher. Why does the interest rate have to be so high? Why is the government not controlling inflation? Why is the Bank of Canada so expensive? And they just get quietly, because it's covert, right? Quietly angry about this whole prospect of being excited in the beginning about purchasing an automobile. And so then they start considering their next greatest and best case scenario. Yeah, Peter, it really does get bad in that capacity, right? And this is the reason why we lose them. And this is the reason why we can't pull them back after 5 days. And this is the reason why we need to be so aggressive with that follow-up strategy to keep bringing them back in. That's why it has to be 6 to 10 email pieces. That's why it has to be 4 to 5 SMS texts. That's why it has to be 2 or 3 telephone conversations. That's why you have to be on all their social media channels so they see you and get your videos and keep the excitement going so that you keep them in that 72-hour loop. Because at some point, you're going to arrive at Sunday in the 72-hour loop. And you have to decide, do you send them an email? Do you give them a call? Do you send them a text on that day? Because they'll go through Sunday and they'll go into covert, or they'll give an overt hostility on Monday, and then they'll go into covert hostility on Tuesday, and that's where we really lose them. I'm not saying you've lost them forever. It may take a little bit of time to reset the clock. It may take days, weeks, months, in order to reset the clock and bring them back in where they can be excited and confident that this is the decision that they want to make. I hope you really got a lot out of that. For years, I was told 72-hour rule. You got to keep them the 72. And I practice it and I followed up with it. I just didn't know why I was doing it. And when I did ask why, nobody would tell me why until I discovered that technology and plugged that into how it affects us. And it just works magnificently. So I really want you to get that. I hope that makes a lot of sense for you. And with that, gang, we're out of time. This is perfect timing for us to move forward into the Q&A. And of course, I really hope you got a ton out of it. Make sure you write down that link right there at the bottom of the screen, the code to book those coaching calls with me. Put this in a swipe file for yourself. You can also find these links and files for the private members Facebook group of the Auto Dealership Academy. You'll also find, before everybody goes, don't anybody leave. Hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. Hold on, and bam, great, super. Got a photo of the attendance. Make sure that you write down that link to my calendar, because it will just work wonders for you when you get on a regular cadence of coaching, Anthony Robbins speaks so eloquently of it. Years ago, I had Anthony Robbins as a virtual coach, pseudo coach. I had his DVDs, I read his books. But until I actually got the real coach, someone to hold me accountable, someone to, more importantly, give me guidance, hold my hand through it, pick me up when I fell down, pat me on the backside, and send me back out on the field. That's what the coach does, right? That's what I can help you with in order to get you those double digits, regardless of economy, regardless of brand, regardless of region, regardless of seasonality. It is possible to sell double digits every single month with predictable consistency. The secret is the pipeline, but the secret to the pipeline is your plan. And your plan is as a result of your dreams. And your dreams are those goals. You see how the ankle bone is connected to the knee bone, connected to the hip bone, connected to the shoulder bones. You got to have them all in place. And this is the reason why I say average ordinary automobile sales trainers, teachers, authors, speakers are not helpful, because their tactics are not aligned. Our tactics need to be aligned to form that strategy so that you can follow a perfectly formulated plan to accomplish your goals and reach maximum potential. So with that, I'm talking too much. Let's open the floor to questions, comments. If you need to get on with your day, feel free to jump out. Thanks for joining me, Dana and Dan. It was wonderful to see you. Thanks for joining me, John. That's terrific. And I think I've welcomed everybody else, including Henry earlier. Who has a question? Who has a comment? You can use the text chat. You can use your microphones if you wish. So you can turn on your microphone, or if you can't, text me in the text chat and I will. You're welcome, Mark. Thanks so much for joining me. You can text in that your microphone isn't working and I will unmute you. Who has a question? Who's got a comment? In the future going forward, I'd really like you to bring questions and comments, challenges. There's another one. It doesn't even have to be a question or comment about this particular program. What challenges are you experiencing? What can we round table? I was going to say, what can I answer for you? But I may not be able to answer that. Maybe all of us collectively, we throw our 2 cents in the tactic that we have, and provided those tactics are aligned, meaning they can work in succession and order, wow, now we've got a strategy. And that's really what the community is so fantastic and all about, isn't it? Anybody experiencing any challenges? Alex, Dan, Dana, John, Peter, Rebecca, Wes, Henry, anybody have a particular challenge that we can talk about? And of course, I've mentioned before, we're going to go to a revenue review style again, where you send in your business case, or you send in a particular question and a typical challenge, as opposed to a one-off challenge where one-off challenge happened to me on stage. It was really great, and it was really bad at the same time as well. And I think I was challenged not to be able to accomplish it, and certainly did for them. It was used car vehicle pricing. And the pricing was that a used vehicle, pre-owned automobile, was $10,000 more expensive than a brand new vehicle. And we're not talking about the Ford GT or the new Corvette or any other product, the new Demon or Hellcat that is coming down the pipe. This was just a regular van, and the brand was Toyota, this particular salesperson. And there were some people in the audience that wanted to test my mettle, and I was more than happy to do that with them. And at the bottom line was, when the product is in such short supply, the used car manager will practice the elasticity of demand, and a fundamental economic practice from Economics 101. And that simply is a fancy term for, let's see what we can ask when the new product is unavailable. So you can bring forward challenge, just make sure that it's a feasible challenge for you. In that particular case, the salesperson, I quickly identified on the stage in front of a lot of people, that the only reason the used one was more expensive was that it was the only one that was available. And so if you were the customer and you had to buy a vehicle now, And it did have more equipment than just what the base model had, but not a whole lot more equipment. But it was, yes, more expensive, even though it had mileage on it. Our traditional thinking on that particular vehicle is that you save some money because it's older and it has a little bit of mileage. In this particular case, you're not saving any money, but you're getting the vehicle that you need and want right now. Now, an average ordinary salesperson would probably say to that buyer, you could just wait and get the new vehicle. But the new vehicle is actually, we found it after, it's 18 months away. Therefore, it stands to reason, based on supply, this is the only one they have on the lot, for a dealer that should have 50 of those vans sitting on the lot. And therefore, it stands to reason supply and demand dictates the elasticity of demand. In that particular case, if they do sell it, that used car manager will look like a hero. And I'm certain there's a very substantial commission built into that. So everyone is going to win because the customer gets what they want. They need a van right now to be driving. On the other side of the equation, when the new starts to arrive and flow in, I don't think that is ever going to come up as a challenge for me on stage or for any of you selling. And so let's make sure that our challenges are in line with what is happening to us. Those one-off situations, they always exist, and I'm happy to field those, but try to pick the pattern. What is the one pattern that you're struggling with so that we can improve and capitalize on the opportunity to sell and close on that one thing, that one objection, that 2-3 objections that are a pattern for you. And with that, I don't see any questions or comments. So I'm going to wrap this up, everybody. Have a fantastic day, an amazing week, a terrific weekend. And this recording will be live and available tomorrow in on our YouTube channel of the Auto Dealership Academy. And so be sure to go there and watch it and make notes on it again. And of course, I will see you again next Thursday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And as we get closer to Christmas, I'll have some more dynamite tactics for you to leverage when customers are distracted by the holiday season. Again, book those one-on-one sessions with me. Let's make sure that you blow your goals and your objectives right out of the water for the month of December. I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye for now.